we are now live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump forward a little bit with the old countdown because, yeah, we're running late. We're live now. We're up and running. We're looking at Jason at the moment, though. There you go. That's better. Wait, no, let me rephrase that. It's not better that we're not looking at Jason. Right, if you bear with me, I'm going to get myself a cup of tea, but I'm certain that Alyssa can say hi to everyone.
Of
Entertain
course,
us.
you say that when I just took a bite of food.
It's okay, I found my headphones now. But yes, we've got ourselves 8 viewers already. We've got people sort of like rolling in. Welcome along. The
Hi, Aaron.
The Q&A is up and running on the YouTube. Let everyone know where.
We've got Andrew English is joining us, as is Michael P. And as I said earlier, Aaron Navis. And yes, I do plan on bringing up SDCC Fit at some point this afternoon. There was a rousing series of tweets middle part of the week where we were all encouraging Leonard. So
yeah, I suppose.
So we're going to continue along on those vein on that idea, just a bit more encouragement. Well, everybody too. I'm recovering from a little knee thing, and I'm at like 90%. So I'm really happy that I'm where I am, and I managed to not re-injure myself. So
congrats.
Yes.
Right, I'm currently saving a bunch of pictures, which Theosaurus has sent us, and hopefully we'll get some answers about what the context is for some of these. Because there's one thing that I have never done. I've never done Conan, so I have questions. I have questions. We're going to talk about that. Of course, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, do jump in on the Hangout and on the Q&A. Let us know if there's anything that you want us to talk about today. We'll do what we can to cover as much as we can. Right, so that's that. I'm going to now share the link on that there Twitter to let everyone know that we are live. See, this is what we do. Get ourselves ready for another show.
Behind the curtains.
And the curtain, man.
Mysteries revealed.
Looking for that tweet, Leonard, so I can simply
I'm on it. I'm typing this fast. Grief. This is what I get every week, everyone. All right.
I'm the nice one.
And she's the nice one.
We are also going to go over, just so everybody knows, we're also going to go over exclusives released this week. Some panels were confirmed. The trolley wraps, of course, which are always, and some of the placards, the decorations have gone up in San Diego, so I'm assuming we'll talk about that in addition to the trolley wraps. I do want to go over the hotel lottery article that was published this week on the blog, the analysis and reflection. Mark did a fabulous job in analyzing the data from about 250 people who responded and contributed. So I want to go over that too, in addition to the week in television.
Yeah. Plenty to talk about.
Yes.
Right. I think we're all in place. The only technical issue that we definitely have is that Theosaurus, who's joining us, unfortunately, a camera is not particularly working this time round. So we're not going to be able to see too much of Theosaurus on the Hangout. but we've got pictures.
But
so we're still going to see them.
Yes.
So it's going to be good. We're all good. So, okay, it is 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT, or just after anyway, which means it's Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. I have my cup of tea, and we're all ready to go. We've got lots to talk about, so we're just going to dive straight in. I'm going to take a slurp of tea first. Hang on.
Be sure to slurp, please.
I slurp as much as I possibly can. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. As always, the Q&A is up and running on YouTube. Any questions you have throughout the course of the show, do let us know. You can, of course, use Twitter as well, using the hashtag CupOTSDCC. We do all we can to keep an eye on that hashtag. But the Q&A is probably the best way to get hold of us and get any questions in, not only of our guests, but also that you want answering, considering that we are 25 days away from San Diego Comic-Con 2017. Next week's show, we'll actually be able to say this month Comic-Con. It's that kind of time of the year. So my guest for the week, my partner in crime, Alyssa Franks. Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
I am well. My knee is recovering, as I said earlier today, and I am thrilled that I will not be hobbling around, with a cane during San Diego. That's the big thing. How are you feeling? How's your ankles, Leonard?
Yes, my feet are in full recovery mode. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I've been doing a lot of SDCC fit, stretching things out and getting everything kind of nicely sorted. But at least I'm not going to be in the absolute mind-numbing agony that I was last year, which was truly atrocious. But no, thankfully that's all sorted out.
So everybody can join us with trying to get out and do something this week.
Do you know what it's been? It's just been walking. It's been walking. I have been putting. I know the tip from Jason has been putting the rucksack on, and sort of like walking in actual with weight that you would be using throughout San Diego and getting used to that. So that's what I've been doing. So no, we'll get onto that as well. We'll get into this. So no, it's great to have you along, Alyssa. I know we've got a lot to talk about, especially in terms of what the forum have been up to this week. Yes, speaking of which, Jason Koh, hello there. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. How's things been going in terms of SDCC Fit? Because obviously you've got the hashtag going, but also the social media as well. How's it all been going?
I was late this year. Fell off the bandwagon during holidays and never jumped back on until a few days ago. Went to E3 and it really kicked my butt. It really did. Standing in line and lower back hurt. So started doing it now, and it went back really smoothly. I'm used to doing the 10, 12,000 steps a day now. It's really the standing in line that really hurts. Yeah. It's that lower back pain.
I want a Fitbit. I want a Fitbit so I can see what my footfall is throughout Comic-Con, because I keep seeing some major numbers getting bandied about, and I just keep wondering what I put together when it comes to Comic-Con. I want a Fitbit. I'm not going to buy it out of the Patreon money. That's just not. That's not good. But no, there we go. No, so it's great to have you joining us. We are going to be talking about Conan, but I know you've been to it a couple of times, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Someone who went to Conan for the first time last year was Keosaurus. I'm never quite sure how to refer to you. Is it the green
call me
Key? Call you Key.
Key is fine.
Key is fine.
It's my nickname.
There we go. Okay, well, in that case, it's a pleasure to have you joining us. Like I say, I know that Key's having some issues with her camera, so we are going to see pictures of her, but we'll get there eventually. So, no, it's great. Well, actually, speak to you first in terms of Conan and what you kind of got out of last year's show, because it was the first time you went, but you kind of had one hell of a debut with the whole thing.
I sure did.
Yeah, what did you get up to?
So, and first of all, I want to mention that Jason was my sensei through the whole process. He was great. I would DM him. You know, he would recommend what time to get in line. So I can kind of talk through how I lucked out throughout the whole situation. I got in line. I was recommended to get in line to get your ticket. So I should back up the process a little bit. So there's an online kind of, it's not really a lottery, it's first come, first serve to reserve a spot to be able to even stand in line. And I had, you can request certain days, but you may or may not be granted those days. And I really wanted to go Thursday because I thought, okay, that's a great day. I don't have anything lined up on that day. And it just so happened that I was picked for Thursday, so it was perfect. I thought with my luck, it'll be Saturday, Hall H, everything happening, but I got really fortunate. So you print out your ticket, and from there you get in line in front of the theater where everything happens, where the show is actually filmed. And it's a first come, first serve, filling up the theater. I think Jason, do you remember how many seats there are? Isn't it somewhere around 2,000?
I don't know the exact number, no.
I was in the theater last year, and it seemed to be a 2,500 to 3,000, seat theater.
It's not a small venue, is it?
It's not small, but it's not huge.
Right, and you are really packed in there, and the rows are very steep. So it's a small space for as many people as they get in there, but it's a really efficient use of space. Anyway, you get in line, and you get a physical ticket. So I actually, that's one of the pictures that I put up there and sent to you, Lenny.
Yeah.
And so I was very fortunate to get, I think I was in row 10, and I was on the aisle, which wound up to be a thing later on. And you don't get to choose your seat, you just get the next available seat. So I was fortunate to be toward the front of tickets they gave away for Thursday. You go away and you do come back. They will tell you not to bring water. I'm going to say if you're going, absolutely bring water to stand in line outside of the theater. It's 4 or 5 o'clock. It is scalding hot sun. I did not bring water. They left us the sun. There was no shade at all in front of that theater at 4 o'clock. I got the most incredible sunburn for just being out there. They left us out there. In fact, we got in late about 20 minutes. Plus, I got there early. So you were out in that sun with no shade, no nothing, and you didn't want to get out of line for close to an hour. It was pretty intense. So people got inside and they were just desperate to hit the bathroom, to get water, something to drink. There's a concession stand when you first go in. You can pick up T-shirts. There's a metal detector process, and they are very thorough, very thorough, until when everybody goes into the theater and they seat you. And then you're there for a good amount of time. They're warming up the audience. So the band is playing, and I sat toward stage right, which was toward the band. Wonderful seat if you can get near the band. They are amazing. What you hear on the show is just a taste of the talent that is there. I loved it. I absolutely thoroughly, the band was a huge element of enjoying the show for me. Then they warm up the audience, and so this is one of the first time that I got really lucky. So they ask for volunteers to come up and be in a contest. They don't tell you what the reward is. They just, ask you to go up. And Jason's laughing at me. So I stupidly raised my hand, and it was Andy Richter actually who went past me and said, "You want to go? All right, come on." And I didn't regret it until the tone of his voice. And then I thought, oh God, what have I gotten myself into? So they put us up on stage, and I'm going to guess there were probably about a dozen of us that they randomly picked from the audience, and they decided it was going to be a dance contest. Oh, Lord. So, you're on stage in front of 3,000 people, and at this point I think, what have I got to lose? I'm already up here. So they turn on the music, no shame, just went crazy. Based on who they selected as winners, I'm going to guess they chose 2 talented dancers and 1 person who just had no shame. I was the latter. And what you won was the Funko prize pack, which included all 4 Conan Pops, plus Conan T-shirts, the glasses, cup, all kinds. I mean, it was a heavy, heavy bag. And so I, of course, protecting this thing all night because of the Conan Pops that are unprotected and smashable in this soft bag. So that was my first really fortunate moment. And then toward the end of the show, I think they just kind of saw, hey, this woman was crazy. She got up on stage. She's willing to just be crazy. So at the end of the show, the camera came down the aisle with Conan, and they stopped right at me. And so Conan and I had this funny moment at the end of the show where he was in his superhero costume. So I actually got to embarrass myself on national TV after I'd done it in front of the theater audience, and I have no regrets. So it was a lot of fun, I really, really recommend it. It wasn't as much time as I had been led to believe that it was going to be.
That was going to be my next question. First things first, just to kind of like go back a bit, because there's something I didn't quite get from what you were saying. You applied for the 1-iota tickets, is that right? Or was this the wait list? Tickets that you went.
So no, I applied for the tickets online. That's the drawing that they've just had. Yeah. So that's where you may or may not get to stand in line for whatever day you want. So when you're standing physically in line, your printed ticket that you've printed from your email from Conan has the day on there. And then you just kind of stand in line for a physical ticket and hope that day has not filled up yet.
Gotcha. Okay, because that's the one thing because as someone who hasn't done Conan before, I wasn't too sure exactly how that worked, considering that I was under the impression that it was if you were allocated a day or you got a ticket, you kind of showed up an hour or so before. Alyssa's got a hand up.
Right. I think that the plans have changed, that the process has changed for the 1-iota tickets, the online tickets. Because I was online trying to get tickets this year, and fairly quick about it, and nobody that I know of on the forum or that I know of was able to get in for tickets. I'm hearing that everything is a lottery. Everybody waiting.
No, it's the whole thing's up there. The whole thing is a lottery system this time round.
Right.
From what I've read, in terms of, I know the unofficial blog have been in contact, I believe, with 1-iota. We are going to find out if you have applied for a wait list. Everyone went in for the wait list. You will find out if you've been lucky to get your wait list tickets next week.
So I want to mention something about the wait list.
Yeah, go for
it. And maybe this is going to be a little different this year. They had, the day that I went there, Thursday, 200 no-shows of people who were actually guaranteed tickets. So almost everybody who was waitlisted got in. If you're waitlisted, you just show up and hope that, and it's first come, first serve of the waitlist line. Somebody who doesn't show up when it's like 20 minutes to showtime, they will start pulling people out of that line. Almost everybody who showed up got in. I couldn't believe 200 no-shows, but that's the reality of it. You know, your plans change on a dime at Comic-Con.
So I have to jump in here.
Go for it.
So we're talking about two different waitlists. The waitlist on the 1-iota is one thing. The waitlist online is another. And they give you a band with a number on it, and you just come back hoping that there are no-shows. And that's the reason why the line looks so long and people start camping early. The people first 50 people in line are not 1-iota people. They are just people hoping to get on that waitlist line. Right. So when you get there and you see Twitter posts saying 300 people online, don't freak out. If you already have a 1-iota ticket, you can show up. I think I saw Nerdophile showed up at like 10 a.m. to pick up their guaranteed seats. They were sitting in the nosebleed, but that's the reason why people like me who get the 1-iota tickets still show up really early. I want to sit close to the stage. So as close, sooner you arrive, the closer to the stage you'll sit.
Cool. But, I mean, one or two people are jumping in on the Q&A with comments that Andrew Dickinson, I thought the queues were for people to get in for the no-shows. Yeah, that's what I assumed as well. Dan Berry, everyone is waitlisted just like last year. This is a similar setup to last year. I seem to remember that. You were talking about no-shows and the amount of people that don't show up because, like I say, plans change. I did have tickets for the Friday, and I didn't show. So if you were one of 4 people that got in last year, I was the reason why. So congratulations, thank you. No,
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Dan Berry, I've tried for 5 shows of standby and gotten in every time. Andre White, are one iota have priority over others? Right, yes. And we've just answered that one. Spot on. So there we go. We've also got the idea. It's actually, yeah, you're right. It's not the biggest room at all. It's a 1,463 seat theatre. Is there? Ephraim Lagardier is asking what time did he get there, but I think that's just more a case of negotiating best times. I mean, well, we'll go to Jason on that then. So, I mean, you say that you get there pretty early to get your tickets, and this is the 1 iota tickets. What time do you usually show up?
I was staying at the U.S. Grant last year, so it's just across the street from the Sparkles. So I got up around 1 a.m. just to check on the line, and there was about 30 people in line, all camping out, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I actually went into line around 4 a.m. for my tickets, and I got, if I remember correctly, second row, aisle seat, which is what you want. You want the aisle seat, so hopefully you get a selfie with Conan. I got one the first year he was there with my cousin, and we were sitting about in the orchestra halfway back on the right side, and when he came back down after the end of the show, we're doing the wrap up, we got a selfie with him, so that's what we were aiming for.
Cool.
So I got there around 4 a.m. to answer your question. People, what time did you show up, Key?
I got in line around 6:45, and I was row 10.
Row 10, okay.
But
So,
I do know that the sun hadn't come up quite yet, and once the sun came up behind me, it filled up really, really fast.
I would just keep an eye on Twitter for updates, because as Conan gets more popular, and I think the lines are going to start getting filled up quicker.
Well, this is the thing. If I go to the Conan show, it'll be for the guests. I have no idea who he is. I'm English. I have no clue who this guy is.
Well, you know, yeah, Weird Al's always one guest.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm sold.
Right. So I wanted to point out something else for folks who might go just for the Funko Pops. I actually sat next to 2 guys who were there just for the Funko Pops. They will not let you leave the theater once they close the doors, and even the pre-show starts. And they were really angry, and they kind of ruined the experience for everyone around them. They just wanted their Funko Pop, and they wanted to leave. And so it was really kind of disappointing. So if you're going just for the Funko Pop, just know that you're in it for a couple of hours. There's no getting out of it, quote unquote.
Well, I think a lot of people have seen my tweets this morning, my post this morning. I've been checking on people who are selling stuff from the exclusives, not just the Funkos, but across the board, which are Comic-Con exclusives, and they're on eBay already. You have no idea how much this winds me up. It really, considering that the markup on the Funkos for Conan are $200 at the moment. I mean, I understand that you're flipping this stuff to make a profit, but dude, it just I'm sorry, but that's just bang out of order. Bang out of order.
Really gouging the fanatics.
Yeah, and I've really had a crazy experience trying to get back to my hotel with that Funko bag. The bag itself has Funko on it and Conan, and there were so many people, and I would even use the word harassing me as I left the theater, trying to get me to sell that bag, that there were some other fans, I didn't know a single one of them, who kind of created this protective barrier around me. And we walked back to my hotel together. That's how crazy it was. It was, and I was recognized for a couple of days after that. I was actually in line at Starbucks, and someone said, "You're the woman who won the Funko bag on Thursday night, aren't you?" And I thought, this is crazy.
No, wasn't me. Wasn't me.
I know nothing. Funko what? So it was the craziness around those Funkos is kind of nuts.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's really quick. Let's get this out of the way and cover that now, because they did announce. This was off the back of the the news. He actually announced what the deal was with the selling of the tickets and also the whole business with the Pop Funkos. This was on, I believe, Tuesday. No, it wasn't. It was on Thursday. It was the day after the unofficial blogs little show on the Wednesday night. So no, this was the official banner description of Conan. And these are the Funkos available this year. We kind of announced these last week as part of our show because someone had spotted the wraps go up on the MTS, and we kind of got them as the show was going live. So we were rather happy to reveal these: the Flash, the Jedi, the White Walker, and the Spidey, which are
they are all awesome.
They are pretty impressive, aren't they? However, this is the one that a lot of people are going to be doing their best. I described it as the holy grail of the Pop Funkos, pretty much across the board. And it is the Mono Conan, which is going to be available. And now this is going to be available at some off-site activations and as special prizes on behalf of Conan. So I'm guessing as part of the prize pack. As such, that is going to be incredibly limited edition, and yeah, that's your holy grail right there. That's the one.
So everybody, dance your butt off at the pre-show.
I should have warned you about that, Key, when you were volunteering in line.
Oh, is that the pre-show? Is that the contest every year?
That's the tradition is the shake your booty contest right before the show starts. I didn't volunteer because I knew it was happening.
Totally worth it. I have no regrets.
Yeah. Cool. Just to go through a couple of the comments, let's have a look at this. Dan Berry, he mentioned that, and quite right, that you can in fact pick up your guaranteed ticket as late as 1 hour before showtime. I turned around and said, yeah, but what seats do you get if you show up an hour before? It depends. If you are just one person, you may get a better seat as they need to fill those up. If you are in a group, you may end up in nosebleed, as described. Andre White, I want all the pops this year. The show was great. Got to stay for the show. Let's have a look. Aaron Neighbors, people are selling artwork on eBay that hasn't even come out yet, like the Patrick Ballesteros art. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. Chismo Sanchez, you haven't seen Funko Fanatics until you've been to a Fun Days event. Yes, I can kind of understand that. That's a whole other level of
I can't imagine.
Fun. Yeah. And the Mac Phantom, not to be crude, but my sister sometimes replaces the N in Funko with another letter, which is an apt word for resellers already trying to make like 800% profit. Yeah, I have total agreement with you on that one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's I'm a fan of wanting to kick these people off eBay, but there we go. So I think the question really is it worth going to take that time out? I mean, you said it wasn't a great deal of time out of your con. Including lining up, is it a day really, or is it?
Oh no.
No,
it was a couple hours in the morning, and that was because, like Jason, I wanted a good seat, and he had given me the heads up to stand in line early for a good seat. So honestly, like if you didn't care about being where you sat, you just wanted to be in the room where it happens. You could show up anytime, and then the show itself was, I think, 2 to 2.5 hours because you're there. And that's the other cool thing is you getting to see the stage set up, and I was fascinated by all of that behind the scenes stuff. So it's about 2.5 hours, so you could spend just a few hours if you wanted to.
Yeah, once they start recording after the the warm up and all what's out, the recording is only about an hour and 15 minutes, almost shot live. They just go from segment to segment as if we were watching the actual show, and then they insert commercials in there and on the live show later that night.
I do know that is a slight change from this year in terms of when they're actually airing the shows. The shows are going live on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
Yes.
It's one of the two. It was either the Friday or the Saturday they're skipping. And yeah, from what I can gather, it's looking like they're just going to blitz through us and just get it edited and on air pretty much as quick as possible. I actually thought perhaps that the Wednesday was going to be more of something like they're in town and doing skits and a pre-recorded show, and then just do the Wednesday for Thursday to Friday, and then but it's done the night before. Wow, that's
it's pretty amazing. It's a spectacle to see for sure.
I went.
So that's basically that's an editor trapped in a hotel room. Fed on Pringles and gummy bears.
Oh well, they actually are very adept at turning these things around quickly and have the skits down and know what they're doing. I had the opportunity to go for the first time last year. I was a +1, and having been in production before, mostly live theater and that type of thing. They know, the band knows. They know how to play off of each other. They're very good at improv and how to get these scenes together. What was interesting was having, the applause sign and the, how they encourage the audience participation was interesting in it. And I was able to get out of the Friday show and get over to the Funko Fun Days. So it is possible to do both of those. Perhaps not this year, since it is finished really
quickly then.
Yeah, so it's I think I showed up to Fun Days at around 6:30 or so, 6:30. So it doesn't take a huge amount of time out of your day, but it's a hike over there. For me, who likes to stay, who was either in the underground parking or in one of the closer hotels, it's about six or so blocks, and I believe you have to bring your ID too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one who won the actual One Iota thing has to bring their ID, and then I don't know if our +3s had to show IDs as well, but
well, that's another question that was asked on Twitter, and I didn't have an answer for it. I did kind of look through as much of the Q&A as possible. If you've applied for 4 tickets and you don't show up with 4 people, I'm under the impression that you get bounced. You have to have the 4, or you have to have the amount of people that you applied for.
I don't think so, because that extra ticket, if you brought 2 other people, that extra ticket would go to somebody in the wait line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's how I would have played it, just to do it.
I spied their little list that they were working off of, and they already have the tickets broken up into groups of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're a group of 4. I'm hoping to get one of the first available group 4 tickets that they have. They already have it pre-broken up, so
I see.
That's how I saw in the beginning of the line.
I'm going to guess, and I'm going to put this to everyone on the Q&A. I'm guessing that everyone just applied for the 4 on all 4 days, just for the hell of it, just to get out there and just game the odds. Who knows? And Andrew Dickinson turns around and says, finding extra friends shouldn't be that hard to find.
Yeah, exactly.
Just grab someone from line.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering, actually, I applied for tickets. I'm wondering, and to be frank with you, I'm not as interested in going to see the Conan show again, but I'm wondering if I could bring my 4 friends and they would get the wristbands, and I would just walk away from it. So if I could bring them first,
very good question.
First thing in the morning, close friends, not reselling, none of that sort of stuff. I'm just hoping that I can end up doing that, because, like I said, I'm in production. I've been in production, so I'm not so much interested in seeing shows again. And so, but if anybody knows the answer to that, if they could let me know, that would be great.
Well,
I've
just asked the question because I like to say off the back of that question about the 4 people. Dan Berry has replied, if you say you have 4 people have to show up to get those tickets.
Yes.
If you don't have 4, you can't get any tickets.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Dan.
I was right. I was certain that was right. I'm certain that's what I read. So I wanted to just check that. I think we may just have to inquire about that this year. So if
well, you already know that when you're short in line, so you just grab someone who's on the wait list.
Totally.
My group?
Yeah, you're a new best friend.
Although
Absolutely.
I did just one person, so I think that helps. And honestly, if you did one person and everybody showed up together, you'd all be seated. They just seat one right after another. You're just taking the next spot. So that might be another strategy to it also.
Sure. Well, speaking of strategy, I mean, certainly one thing that was determined was also just a couple of things off the back of the ticket sale. They do preferential towards people who did fill out their full IOTA profile. So hopefully you did that. I know it was advised on a number of boards and sites. So hopefully you put your picture up, you filled out all the other little bits and forms, which was part of your One IOTA profile. And also there was the email that went out 20 minutes after the tickets went live. I got my email through from Comic-Con International. This went out to everybody who had a valid member ID, not necessarily didn't have tickets, because it also went out to some staff. Well, it's a volunteer staff, and it also went out to some volunteers as well. Basically, if you had a valid member ID, you got a email through telling you that the Conan tickets were now on sale, and also with a code which you could then go back into your ticket waitlist order and edit in your member ID and your the code that was provided by CCI. Now, a lot of people have been asking whether that does in fact increase your odds. As a lot of people have been saying, don't worry about it. A lot of people who didn't put in the code got tickets last year. So don't be too afraid. If you haven't put your ticket in yet, or your code in yet, or if you haven't received an email or whatever, don't stress out about it too much. There are a lot of people who didn't get the code or put in the code also got tickets as well. So those as well. So there we go. I think that's pretty much Conan. I think the only thing I could then say is, one last time, is it worth taking the time out of the day of your con, which you spent all this time and money to get into town for, to attend Conan?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd say yes. If you're looking for a unique experience at Comic-Con that you're not going to get anywhere else, and I'm a person who pursues those. Last year, my Fitbit showed I walked 52 miles at Comic-Con. So I am trucking around San Diego trying to get as much in as I can. And that was, I haven't done anything like it. And it was one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Excellent. And the good news is, some of that is now on YouTube as well. So we can all go off and watch you dance.
Yes.
Dance, monkey, dance.
The dancing is, thank God, not there.
Oh, man. That's just not
I
fair.
can give you a link, though, to the show where I'm at the end and I'm on the show with Conan. So I could share a link to that.
If you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind seeing that. That'd be cool. Excellent. Brilliant stuff. So, yeah, thank you very much indeed. I know we wanted to try and cover the Conan tickets and the Conan sales because we wanted to see exactly what was the nuts and bolts behind it if you hadn't been. So there we go. That's what we've done.
We'll add one quick thing. We on the forum are kind of expecting to hear back early in the week. They tend to turn things around fairly quickly. At least they did last year. So we're anticipating Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just to refine the date a little bit from the blog. So, you know, fingers crossed, who knows, we'll see, and all of that. But good luck to everybody who's applied for a round of tickets. And if not, maybe I'll meet, maybe we'll meet in the wait-up line.
Excellent stuff. Cool. Okay, so what do we, well, I mean, at this point, we now can turn around to both Jason and Key and say, thank you very much indeed for joining us. If you want to get off and enjoy the rest of your Sunday and just watch, you're more than welcome. But if you want to stick around, because we're going to get into the rest of the Comic-Con news, if that's all right.
I can stick around for another 15 minutes before I have to head off.
There we go. Now this is where we usually have a guest just sort of like vanish from our little windows down the bottom, just sort of like, oh, bye then. So no, thank you. Well, that's great. What do we want to cover next, Alyssa? Do you want to do exclusives? Okay.
Well, that's what you have on the list. So I can certainly I could certainly go for the hotel information too. It's your call.
Okay. Well, we'll do the exclusives then, because there's been a number of really nice items that have been announced this week, including from Mattel. Obviously, they had their pre-sales out as well, which did particularly well for them. So the two items that were announced this week, we've already been shown the Wonder Woman and Cheetah figure 2-pack. Also the Disney Pixar Cars Hot Wheels die-cast vehicle. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Hot Wheels. The Hot Wheels Justice League Batmobile was announced this week, which goes alongside the Spider-Mobile and Dead Buggy. Let me just bring this up on screen so you can actually get to see this. This is the Batmobile that is available. This is a Hot Wheels item, which is available. I understand this is not on pre-sale yet, but it's expected to go in the next couple of days. So there's.
I thought they already went on pre-sale. That
is
one,
all,
the other
all
one,
on pre-sale already. Okay, it's the one exclusives, man. It's the one thing I'm playing catch up on. I do my best. I'm doing my best. I really am. But no, it's a nice enough piece of kit. It's very, very. It looks really detailed, and I quite like the look of it. Although this one's gotten a lot of people's interest because no one's really sure what to make of it, which is the Cyborg Origins figure, which is in a box based on the Justice League film design. People are not too sure about the sculpt. They're feeling that it's possibly a little bit cheaper than usual, or the usual Mattel standard. I mean, the outer box looks impressive, but that's not what people's interest is. They want to see about that figure, and the figure itself just doesn't seem to have the level of detail that you would expect from a Mattel figure. It does light up. Both the box and the figure do light up. They are LED fitted, but that is the Cyborg Origins figure. I really should have my pages up with the prices of these things, but there we go. I'm certain that you can have a look on my exclusives directory and find that there. You also had the Mega Construct. Oh no, that was announced last week. So that was the big thing.
I believe the Batmobile is sold out from the pre-sale.
Yeah,
I've got that listed as yesterday.
Fair enough. I expect nothing less. But yeah, I've just been reading a lot of forum posts, not just on the Friends of Comic-Con forum, but also on Mattel forum. People are not too sure about that figure, just feeling that it doesn't quite live up to everyone's expectations.
Anything else?
Those are running for $25. Looks like.
Yeah, I think that may be reflected in the price then.
Anything else from Maddie this week?
Announced this week? No, it was those two. I mean, I believe we had already announced the Mega Constructs Destiny Iron Song Ghost Shell, which, my word, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Yes. Isn't it just? But I quite like this figure or this this item a lot, because at the end of the day, it's a Mega Constructs. You construct it yourself. It's I believe it's a 550 piece of kit, which if you're a Destiny fan. You see, this is where it falls into two camps. I don't do exclusives. I don't do gaming. So I'm utterly screwed when it comes to this. But it's a nice enough looking figure, or exclusive. I mean, it comes with your presentation box, which looks rather nice. And yeah, you get yourself a little figure with there as well. Which, if you are a Destiny fan, this is going to be your must-buy item for the year. So there you go. That's Mega Constructs, and that I believe is not cheap. I think it's
that one was $40. I was gonna pre-order it too.
Yeah.
There was the huge announcement of exclusives this week, which is not so much in the toy area, but certainly in the T-shirt area, which caught a lot of people by surprise, simply because they had done an announcement earlier in the day. They had done a Toucan blog announcement, and I'm drawing a blank on what it was, but and then they did a second announcement at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern time, for the T-shirts. And I was a little surprised about about doing two major announcements during the day.
I don't think it was that which surprised everybody. It was what they announced, which I think kind of threw a bunch of people, because quite frankly, the items that are available is decidedly weird. I think they're odd. Let me just bring this up. Yes, indeed, this was the merchandise that was for sale, and indeed, you got a bunch of T-shirts that are up for grabs. And they did change the process this year as well. You did have to sign in to your member ID to actually get your the merch this year. It's available when you log in. It's an additional tab that rocks up at the top of the page, and something that hasn't been clarified yet. I don't know if it's been fixed before. When they opened this up, if you actually place an order, you couldn't then go back in and amend it. Or add to it. I think that it may have been altered. They may have changed the site a little bit, but as far as I'm aware, that was a definite issue.
It looks as though that they changed the process. They changed the software, the selling software, and yes, you absolutely could not amend your order. So if you order a T-shirt, you can't go back in and order a hat.
Yeah.
There was also a couple of other minor little issues with it, but they have made it. They have made the announcement prominent that all orders are final. You can't place a second order. All of that. So it's kind of, what's interesting to me is they limit you to 15 hats.
You got to battle those flippers.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, are also at the moment showing up on eBay as well. All of this gear is on eBay, which is just... Oh.
They know you might be doing your SDCC running, your SDCC fit running, and in a windy area, lose your hat.
Well, I have to say that I do like the hats. I'm not so sure about the book bags, and I'd like to get other people's opinions about the tiki cups and which T-shirt.
Let's go down the list. First T-shirt up is the Raphael Albuquerque Batgirl 50th anniversary shirt. Another thing that someone's going to have to explain to me is the prices. I understand California sales tax. I get it, but if it's $22.57, couldn't you just make it $23? Couldn't you just round it up or something? I don't know. But anyway,
trying to make it more expensive for us, Leonard.
Okay, the man's got a point. Okay, $20. Make it $20. No. So yeah, you're looking at $22.57 for the small double XL, sorry, double XL $25.81 and triple XL $29.04. The women's size, small to large, is $19.34. These are all including price sales tax. So there you go. That's the Batgirl Raphael Albuquerque. We then had ourselves. It says then 3 designs. Well, that's a design. I'm counting them all as 5. Deal with it. You've got yourself a Kirby Crackle Comic-Con logo shirt, which I really like.
That's the one I'm getting.
Really, really tasty. Yeah. I think that's really nice. You have the Comic-Con Eye, which I think is just a nice bit of branding, just to kind of change things up, so it gets people to buy the shirt. But yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if that actually ends up being the official logo in future years, because I quite like the circle. I quite like that. And then you had the Colligate. Which is a slight amended design to the one that I am currently adorned with. So you'll see it when I go back to my come off the screen share. Same prices again, $22.57 for small to XL. As always, it just rats through. $25.81 for a double XL, $29.04 for triple XL, etc., etc. And then last but not least, we have ourselves the Heroic Toucan T-shirt. With art by Rick Gary, saluting the only official, in capital letters, Comic-Con blog, pointing no fingers, mentioning no names. So there you go. It's nice. I'm not too sure how many people will be going for that, but if you are a hardcore Comic-Con fan, that may be a choice.
I usually get the toucan shirts because I like the uniqueness of the toucan design. That one did not appeal to me though. I think if they had simply had the toucan as opposed to having the San Diego behind it, that I would have liked it a little bit better. It's too busy, in my humble opinion.
I agree. But it's a nice design by Rick Gary. I think he's done a good job on it. But,
like I said, just have the toucan, with in the pose.
Well, in that case, what you do is you get a sharp Stanley knife and just scratch it off, and you just
no.
What? Okay. That's your usual price. Now, then we start getting into some interesting items. The book and tote bag, which is a grey book bag, and the Kirby Crackle tote bag. All well and good. All very nice. At $22.57 and $27.96, that is a tad pricey, man.
Yeah. And I was thinking about the tote bag myself because, having something a little bit larger, but I think I would have wanted something that's a little, that I could do groceries in, or, it was more a functional as opposed to just a bag that was, this wide, that it actually opened up. So it was a little bit more like the Matty bags that you get when the red Matty bags or something of that nature. So it was a little bit more usable. For $23.
I do quite like the text, which does confirm that we are getting the WB bags this year. Although, as anyone who has actually used the WB bags will tell you, those handles will come off instantly if you try carrying your groceries around in them. So yeah, they're a tad pricey, but I mean, it's a grey cotton bag. It's going to be It's going to be hard wearing, but it's still quite a mighty thing. We then have the Comic-Con embroidered caps. This is using the new circular logo. I like. I could have possibly done with slightly different colors, but I like.
I like the gray one. If I could wear hats, I would have gotten a gray one.
I can only wear one hat and not look like an idiot, and that's the one that I'm wearing right now. So there you go. That's $27.96 for both caps, all one size, of course, with your buckle at the top. Right, tiki mugs.
I don't get it.
What?
Me either.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No,
And I love
really,
pizza stuff.
really isn't. Although I did get in the middle of a domestic when I brought this up with a good friend of ours on the Twitters, who turned around and said, "Oh, I've got to get hold of one of these because this will go with the tiki mug collection at home." At which point his missus jumped in on the thread and went, "Don't even think about it."
Nice.
But I think. I mean, I get the uniqueness of it, and you've got the hero and the villain version, but at $33.40, you've really got to be a hardcore tiki mug fan. That's odd. Yeah.
I had a moment when I first saw them that I thought the villain was supposed to be Tasmanian Devil. And so I was trying to match the hero. What Warner Brothers character is this? And I realized, but it was just from the smaller pictures. It's nice to see them bigger. Well, I say nice, but kind of, it's a great idea for something really unique, but.
I mean, I quite like I like the fact that the hero version has a 15 fluid ounce capacity and the villain version has an 18 fluid ounce. Pretty much saying, well, if you're conscious, so like heirs to the villain side, we'll give you more alcohol. I get that. But there we go. Manufactured by Tiki Farm. Those are exclusive to. I mean, the first Tiki mugs actually came to Anaheim. I like the fact that they proclaim it was an immediate sellout. I'd like to know if these go. But there you go. That's the tiki mugs.
I think they will. They're getting a lot of buzz on the forum, and a lot of people do seem to like them. I feel very much the odd man out
You know, I don't know. Well, considering there's four of us here and we're not too sure, I'm gonna look on the Q&A in a second.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. I have not looked there for a while. I apologize. Oops. Okay, we'll see. Am I getting lambasted?
In terms of collecting, it is available in the Pacific Ballroom as it was last year. You enter through the middle aisle of the Pacific Ballroom. It feeds you through and around and into the Comic-Con merch section. One or two people were asking what the queue was like to get your merch. I can tell you from last year, it's not massive at all because they just rattled through. They're very, very impressive, and they've kind of got that down. And not only that, but the new Pacific Ballroom is just a gorgeous place to visit anyway. It's just nicely laid out. So, yeah, there we go.
Last year, my experience, I stood in line for 2.5 hours for my stuff last year.
It depends on when you go. Yeah,
for
it really
pickup?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
sometimes
for pre-order pickup.
Sometimes the lines are long, but you just have to like go away and come back. Seriously, because sometimes the lines are really short too.
It was Thursday.
Thursday. Oh, well,
no,
so,
Wednesday.
Yeah,
was it the Wednesday pickup? Wasn't there Wednesday pickup last year?
There could have been. I am going to point out that Kitty Gunn, who's on the Q&A, is answering a lot of the questions that people are having about the pickups and the particular items. She does work for. Maybe I shouldn't out her. She knows what she's talking about. Listen to her, okay?
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Last year was the first year I did pre-order pickup. So, and I thought I will never order again because this was so much of my time.
Oh
yeah,
no,
if I ever saw the lines were long, I would just come back later.
Yeah.
Oh, now I know.
It's going to be there the whole week.
Yeah,
You've already paid for it.
On the Sunday, I had an appointment as part of my press thing, and I had to be somewhere for 11. I got down into town for about 10:15, and I went, you know, I'm just going to blitz across, hobbled across the street really quickly, and just, I was in and out 20 minutes, half an hour. So, no, okay.
Okay.
Timing
is everything.
Yes.
Indeed. 4 days to collect, Thursday from 9 while 7, likewise on Friday and Saturday. It's a slightly earlier pickup time. It was through till 4:30 last year. This year is a 3 o'clock close. So do make sure that you get your shirt. And you will be requiring your photo ID, your badge, your badge or barcoded badge confirmation email, your printed T-shirt or merchandise order or confirmation. Don't count on using your phone for your receipt. So because they are wanting to scan the QR code. The orders for this, by the way, close. It's a week on Wednesday, July the 5th, and it closes at 12 p.m. noon Pacific time. So do get your shirts if you are wanting to get those. Tiki mugs. If you want to get them in the bag or something.
Michael Leventhal is saying that Mondo had also done a tiki mug, and I think even Loot Crate had a mini one in there. So I understand that a lot of people like them. I think we're just the odd ones here.
Because when I think of Comic-Con and comics and reading comics and attending Comic-Con, I automatically think of palm trees and coconuts and
beaches,
luau's. Cool. Okay.
I actually once went to a Lord of the Rings luau.
What was that? Sorry.
I went to a Lord of the Rings luau a couple of years ago at Comic-Con. So there you go.
It's obviously me. Okay. Michael P. Michael P's asked the question: can you drink out of them? I bloody hope so.
Especially since the evil one is larger. Any other major exclusive announcements this week?
Well, I think obviously the other big one as well. Let's just get this out of the way, which is Funko, which announced a bunch of them this week. A bunch of people have been asking if this is going to be the last of the Funko announcements. We still don't know, but considering they wrapped up on a miscellaneous. But then again, they had miscellaneous last year, and they had about 3 or 4 of them, so bear with us. We'll quickly run through these. We had the television, run, which was the 100 Lincoln as Reaper. We had this thing, which went straight to #1 with a bullet when it came to my kind of top 5 of popular items. It is the Supernatural pop ride, Baby with Dean. We had the Lord of the Rings Aragorn and Arwen 2-pack. You then went into Harry Potter. So that's Harry. Oh no, sorry, this isn't TV. This is Warner Brothers. Get it right. Sorry. Harry Potter, Harry on Broom. The very nice Luna Lovegood with glasses, which I quite like a lot. I think that's rather pretty. And you also had the Fantastic Beasts 6-inch Okami as well from the film.
That's actually gorgeous. That 6-inch.
It is very pretty, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very pretty. We then went into the Disney line. The first one that came up was Chippendale 2-pack, which is all very nice, and I get the fact that they're flocked and they're pretty. Where's the Hawaiian shirt? Where's the Indiana Jones hat? Come on, guys, it's Chippendale. Get it right. Jesus.
Well, it's not Rescue Rangers. It's from the original cartoon.
Yeah, they're flocked.
They're flocked, yes. You also have the flocked bouncing Tigger as well, which I really do like a lot. I think that's really, really nice. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which that must have passed me by because I don't remember that at all. But there you go, that's Mr. Toad from that. You also had from Moana, which is the Hey Hey. The little parrot from that, and then you had a couple of glow in the darks actually from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. You had the Jolly Roger, and from Darkwing Duck you had the Negatron, which is a glow in the dark. The Jolly Roger, by the way, is a 1,000 limited edition. We have yet to find out what the quantities are for the rest of the figures. And then you had the rather nice Aladdin with Abu Magic Carpet, which was a Daubs ride, if you're a Daubs fan. Okay, let's go through these real quick. So we had Wave 9, which came out on the Friday, which is all sorts of stuff just thrown into the mix, which was Sister Location, Jump Scare Funtime Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's, and you also had Jump Scare Baby as well. From Elder Scrolls, you had a 6-inch Dwarven Colossus, and then you got into the stuff that actually people are interested in. Dr. Zeus, which is a Phlox Lorax, which is rather cute. The Power Rangers Megazord is actually been announced already. This is actually going to be a shared exclusive with Diamond Comic Distributors. It's also going to be available on their booth. The Masters of the Universe Scareglow Glow in the Dark, which I've watched Masters of the Universe and I don't remember him, but hey, what the hell. And then last but not least, oh no, so you had a couple. You had the Panther with Battle Armor Skeletor, which is a flocked Daubs. And that is rather nice, which is the Master of the Universe She-Ra, which is the Rock Candy figure. And then, yeah, this was the last but not least, which was the Skio Shriner, which is a Funko original figure. They actually have announced a number of original figures this week. I think there's a couple of Pop Monsters which are announced today, which you've been seeing popping up on the Funko site. But those were the figures from this week. If you are up for getting these, hopefully this week we'll find out how you're going to be able to do that. At the end of the day, it's assumed it's going to be a lottery system. It's just how it's going to be orchestrated and where. I don't think CCI particularly are encouraged by the idea of having it up at the sales, but where else are you going to do it? So, yeah.
I have to take off now, so
okay.
say goodbye.
Jason, thank you very much indeed for joining us, sir. Hopefully we'll see you in San Diego, mate.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And there you go, Jason Koh. Do follow Jason on his Twitter, Corgi Commander, especially if you are certainly up for keeping up with his SDCC Fit headlines as well, because the guy is absolutely encouraging people to get behind that.
Him and Aaron have done, I mean, back to back, the two of them have really helped us, not so much in getting the, ripped or buff or, that sort of stuff, but not to be in pain. That's the goal, is don't be in pain. So. Yeah.
Cool. Right. How are you doing, Key? You all right?
Doing great. I'm enjoying this.
Jump in by all means. Let's have a look at this. s04e45 Megazord was available for pre-order at a lot of retailers, including Entertainment Earth. Danbury, it won't be at the Diamond booth. It will be at various retailers like Entertainment Earth. I do apologize. The Skeletor is also a shared exclusive with Toy Tokyo. Okay, so there you go. That's it was just me clarifying with the bits and pieces. That's fine. To clarify, 3 more waves this week from Funko. It's supposed to be a total of 12, which will take us through this coming week.
Wow.
So it's not over yet, kids.
Oh.
So you know, take a deep breath and prepare yourself. Okay.
So do you know, what are the limits when you get to the Funko booth? How many you can buy?
One per.
It's one per.
One per.
But it's but you can effectively buy
one of each, if you say.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot are sold out.
Yeah.
So you can't you won't be able to get some of the very, very hot items unless you're the first person in the line, first block of the day, that kind of thing. So
yeah. Just to clarify that as well with the top 5, top 5 which I mentioned, because the way I've been doing my exclusive posts on the site this year, they're all individual page views. They're individuals, so they're kind of like people can see them individual, and people have been seeing the tweets and seeing the social media stuff and going to individual pages. So it's a completely it's not reliable, but it's a nice little count on what people have been sort of like looking at.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was at the top of the tree was the Princess Leia and R2-D2 2-pack, and that was there for quite some time until that bloody supernatural thing showed up, at which point it got knocked off the top slot by a huge margin. That's going to be the one this year, depending on what gets announced this week. But
I am liking that Fantastic Beast little guy. That's just cute, you know. And maybe that's for me it's probably going to be a shared exclusive because I'm not so, you know, I don't need the San Diego sticker on it.
Yeah,
a lot of
and I think it's down to the ones that you actually want to get. You know what I mean? We were talking about this the other week where I think the pair of us have got the Indiana Jones with the idol. I wanted that because it's Indiana Jones, man. That's my jam. But I mean, for example, this year, the Tick. I happen to be a Tick fan, so you know. Here's
my Tick story. So in the 90s, I was collecting comics, and my comic book store was New England Comics, who came up with the idea of the Tick, and I did not buy into it. And every time the Tick comes up, I'm kind of like, just kicking myself for not getting some of the first stuff that they published with regards to the Tick. So let's not talk about the Tick anymore. Can we move on to panels?
Well, this is where I'm going to hope that you've had a look now.
I have. I've taken a look at the blog, and the unofficial blog has done quite a bit. A lot of people have been talking about that the Legion that are really happy that Legion is going to do something. They've also talked that FX is going to have a block of shows too. So we're really looking forward to that one. Batman and Harley Quinn, the premiere screening that we've talked about for the movies. I believe that's the animation. Vikings, of course, the staple. I have yet to get to one of their panels, and I really want to. I'm so upset that I missed that blood Viking. I don't think it was an offsite, but they had a little demo booth at San Diego a couple of years ago, and I was so upset that I didn't get to actually do this. Do you know what Black Crown panel is?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
I think it is. Black Crown is the new imprint that's been set up by Shelley Bond, who formerly was of DC Vertigo. People are kind of taking Black Crown on as going to be the next must pay attention to imprint when it comes to comics. Last year you had Young Animal from DC. which has had a couple of hits, certainly with Shade the Changing Girl and with Doom Patrol. But Black Crown is certainly going to be one of the highlights when it comes to comic imprint, considering you've got some incredible talent that's involved in their first book. I've actually got an interview lined up with Tess Fowler, who's the artist of that particular book. So looking forward to speaking to her. But no, it's good that they're getting a definite push this year. So yeah, that's cool.
Apparently, they have a panel on Friday.
Get in.
The
I'm down with
21st.
that. I'm down with
so
that.
So if you're not in Hall H, there's the other one. John Carpenter's Tales of Science Fiction. That kind of just appealed to me but that's a small panel in 28 DE.
In other words, John's not going to show up.
Yeah, from the mind of John Carpenter. Exactly. One of the panels, the Todd McFarlane and Robert Kirkman panel is on Saturday. Todd McFarlane, I was never a huge, I don't like a lot of the super saturated comics, so I've never been a huge Todd McFarlane fan, but oh my God, he is amazing on panels. He is absolutely a performer, a showman. You've got to see him, and him and Robert Kirkman, that just sounds like it's going to be a blast. It's in 6 DE on Saturday. So that's another one.
Okay. When it comes to sorry, go on, keep going.
There's the Centennial of the King of Comics, Jack Kirby, which how come it's on Saturday?
Yeah.
Why is it on Saturday? Why can't we do it not on a Hall H day?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
It's already
the good news is that the good news is they are going to be celebrating the centenary of Jack Kirby throughout the weekend. But the fact that they've got the centerpiece, admittedly, if you are going into Hall H, it's for the live action stuff, it's for the television, it's for the film. This is hardcore comics. This is for the people who are absolutely. I totally agree that Jack Kirby should be more celebrated for his contribution to comics, and this weekend will go to some part of renovating that, considering that also he's being inducted into the Disney Legends at D23 the weekend before. So yeah, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's going to be a real that you want to do that.
I have not decided if I'm going to do Hall H. A lot of my friends have decided, that they're definitely going to do it because they remember last year, and last year was spectacular. So we'll see if the lineup for Saturday is as spectacular. That's going to be, I think, the key thing.
Shall we cover that really quickly? Because it also counts another couple of panels that could have happened. Is off the back of something that I posted today. Good friend of ours, Mark Serby, was wandering around London earlier on today and bumped into somebody who happens to be in town because he's organising reshoots for Justice League. Joss Whedon is in the capital at the moment, and Mark happened to bump into him. Turned around and said that he's going to be in San Diego next year. Really looking forward to seeing what Joss brings to Comic-Con. At which point Joss turned around and said, I'm not going. This will be the second time in 20 years that I will not be attending San Diego Comic-Con. And if you remember, the time he didn't attend was for knee surgery. So he's buckling down with Justice League. But that means he will not be showing up on stage for the Justice League panel in Hall H for Warner Brothers. He won't be showing up for the Dark Horse panel for any comics that they do. And he won't be doing a spotlight panel, which has been a staple for a couple of years, where any chance you just to have with Joss Whedon talking for 45 minutes, it's always fun.
It's always fun.
He's not coming. So unfortunately, that photo opportunity that I wanted, which was him and Zack Snyder coming out hand in hand onto the stage in Hall H, like conquering heroes. The one photo op which would have blown anybody else out of the water that particular day and given Marvel a serious run for their money. Not going to happen. So unfortunately, that's the case for that.
I will say that Mark's picture with Joss earlier today was absolutely fabulous. I don't know if you could do a screen share of that.
I'm just about to bring it up. Go for it.
Yeah,
keep going.
Mark Serby is a longtime contributor to us, and we have him on as a regular contributor. He obviously does movies, all of our movie panels, and he's looking good, and Joss is looking good. It's a bright sunny day. They're both looking at the camera. Nobody's making funny faces. I wish I could, when I do selfies with a famous person, I wish I could look half as good as Mark does. And yeah.
Hey, let's blow up the man's ego even bigger than it already is.
I know.
Good Lord.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there we go. But it's on the screen at the moment, and Mark's giving it the full grin. Joss is gurning rather nicely there, but yes, he bumped into him in London and turned around and asked, and that's the question. That was the statement.
So was he just walking on the street? Is that what it was?
I've no idea. Either that or he's seriously stalking him.
Yeah. So anyway.
So there we go. That was the news that I dropped today. That no Joss Whedon. That's a shame. It's a shame. So
Lenny, I just want to mention I need to run. So I wanted to say thanks so much for having me on the show. It was great chatting with you both.
It was a pleasure, and it's a shame that we didn't get to see your smiling face.
And where can people find you?
I'll see you in just a few weeks at Keosaurus on Twitter. I live on Twitter 24/7. So pop on over, send me a message. Happy to hear and meet new people.
Excellent stuff. Key, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
All right, thanks. I'll catch the rest of the show on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Brilliant stuff. Okay, thank you very much indeed to Key for joining us. The one last thing that I want to cover, which I'm surprised we haven't actually talked more about. We'll just dive into this. This was announced on Wednesday, I believe. Yes, it was. Like Alyssa said, we had a number of announcements, and the T-shirts was the big thing that we thought we were going to get, or would have been the big news of the Wednesday. Except it most certainly wasn't. Ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves our exhibitor hall maps and lists for 2017. And as shown on screen, the big headliner was...
Netflix.
Oh, my word. It's actually taking over the MTV slot this year, right in the center of the exhibition floor. It's not surprising that MTV are not coming, because at the end of the day, they only have a couple of items that could have been Comic-Con related, which was your Shannara Chronicles and your Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf is discontinuing after this year, so there was no real need to come to Comic-Con, which meant then we will be seeing at booth 3729 and taking over the MTV slot, Netflix. Now, I turned around and said on my post for this means that we could be seeing a number of stuff when it comes to the original movies, which have been showcased at a number of festivals this year, and they have got a number of original content that they'll be wanting to highlight. Then, of course, you also had Defenders and all the Marvel stuff, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, etc., etc. You also had a couple of people that pointed out other content as well. It's just so much stuff. Stranger Things could be having. I mean, when you have the possibility of so much community taking over that entire area, it's going to be absolute bedlam. But it's going to be a joyous thing. I think everyone's just going to be so happy that Netflix are representing. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it seems as though that Netflix is a PR department, and is gearing up. Is figuring out how to play the game, and intern coming to Comic-Con and doing those kinds of outreach things that had been a natural fit at New York Comic-Con with Repop because that's their location. But I think, just making that whole leap.
I think they've recognized the return.
Yeah.
When you make that connection, because at the end of the day, when it comes to actually selling the product of Netflix, it all effectively goes word of mouth. There's some advertising as required, but the vast majority of it is word of mouth. It's done with the connection with the fans. And when because when you dump a whole season out at once, as opposed to letting it build like the networks does, you have to get that return the third week and the fourth week, and that only happens by word of mouth. It happened with Orange is the New Black, the political show, the Marvel shows, and the backfire on Iron Fist. So yeah, I mean, you could also have Kiefer Sutherland there for Designated Survivor. You could have the cast and crew for Santa Clara Diet, as Dan has pointed out. The amount of talent that they could pull to San Diego, the potential for this thing. I mean, someone's just turned around. This is Andrew Dickinson going to have crowd control for Netflix.
Yes.
No, really? I think you might be right on that one. Good grief! It's just, it's incredible. It's incredible. So no, that was for me the big news of the week. That Netflix are representing fully at Comic-Con, and like I say, they won't just rock up with a booth and hand some posters out. They're going to bring some serious talent with them, and that is going to be incredible.
Yeah, that's definitely looking forward to it. I may actually, spend some time on the floor. First, well, no, for the first couple of years when I was going to con, I was doing, the floor free swag runs, first thing in the morning, and it would be interesting to see what they produce, because usually when things happen for the first time, they tend to go big. So I don't know. This is wild guess on my part. So, but I have not even gone through the list of the other vendors that are available. To
be honest, when it comes to the rest of the floor, there's nothing really that jumps out in terms of surprises. Everyone is pretty much where they need to be and where they have been. So there's no real shocks and surprises about that. So yeah. But okay, let's quickly run through the rest of the news, because there's other stuff. When it comes to panels as well, something that's happening on the Friday night, you are going to be getting to see the debut of Batman and Harley Quinn, which is going to take place in Ballroom 20 on Friday.
I mentioned that. I did mention that.
Sorry.
I did.
No word yet on how that's going to work. Is it going to be a ticketed thing, or is it a case of, as usual, first come, first served? Whether you're going to have to, what time it's going to be, basically, because usually the panels do kind of wrap up around 5 o'clock in Ballroom 20. So they may take this to 7, very similar to the Warner Brothers premieres that they have on preview night. So who knows? We'll find out as soon as we get any kind of word, of course. I'm not going to be attending it because I find the animation of DC not overly impressive, but
there is so much to do on Friday night. You've got Funko Fun Days, you've got the Eisners, and then you've got this. There's too much to do on Friday night. So
that's right. Let's complain about there's too much stuff to do. Oh man. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts. But I like it. It's a lot of chaos. I've no problem. And last but not least, Graham Small is saying and reminding us about the Raiders, Rebels, and Supermen concert for Saturday night. Indeed, this is very exciting. We actually on the Englishman in San Diego website, we're actually giving away a pair of tickets to this thing. This is absolutely amazing. Especially if you are a movies fan, and especially if you are a fan of the work of John Williams. This has been done by the San Diego Symphony, and it is a concert which is going to actually be in 2 parts, because you actually have a pre-show as well, which has something along the lines of cocktails up for grabs. There's going to be a mini cosplay competition, which you can actually take part in as well. It's what I like about the sound of this is it's just going to be done with such lightness and a real sense of fun. Well, I mean, the main concert doesn't start until 7:30, so you've got, like I say, cantina band music, cocktails, costume. It's just the atmosphere is just gonna be so cool in that room. As it happens, I will say that the seats to the Copley Symphony Hall in the Jacobs Music Center are selling out quickly. As Graham told me, it was getting a little bit sparse now. If you are wanting to go in for maybe 1 or 2 tickets, you may be okay, but I do know that certainly groups will struggle. This is on Saturday, the 22nd of July, by the way, so it'd be a nice way to wrap up your Saturday and certainly get into the whole John Williams vibe of the thing, considering you could just rattle off just the iconic themes: Superman, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones, E.T. Close. I don't think they'll do Close Encounters, but I'd love them to, because I love the Close Encounters theme. That's just mine. I think the other one that I pointed out as well, which I wish they would do, but I know for a fact they probably won't because they won't have time, is the Map Room and Dawn from Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is my favorite piece of cinematic music ever. I bloody love that piece of music. But no, that's taking place on the Saturday. Like I say, tickets are running out or selling out rather quickly, so if you are going to go in for them, go in quickly. And it's not that expensive, actually. The tickets are between like $20 and $35. It's not extortionate. So it's going to be a great way to do your Saturday evening. If you do want to have a crack for tickets, though, do head to anenglishmaninsandiego.com and search for the off-site updates, or indeed go to the competitions tab. Down at the bottom of the post, there is a raffle draw which will run out on Tuesday, I believe, and you can win yourself a pair of tickets to this very cool concert. So there's that. Okay, anything else? Oh yeah, let's do the hotel.
The hotel thing, yeah. People can take a look for the wraps and the banners. There's been a number of pictures announced for that.
Yeah, I'll dial them up.
This past week, I just wanted to bring this up, so just to follow up on the hotel sale. This past week, we had one of our contributing writers on the FOCC blog put out a piece that he's been working on for months. Basically, he took about 250 data points from people who submitted their information. So these are not, this is not a random data test, and you can't say that this is the definitive. However, the sampling size was so large that he was able to get a really good sense of where things were going with the hotel sales. Was the time in which you submitted, did that relate to how well you did? And yes, it did. In general, the takeaway for all of this was that it seemed to run much better this year and was more accurate. There were still some issues with everything, but not nearly as much as there were last year. There's still some refining points. As people know, there were 2 groups of notifications. The first group, and I'm going to put a link up to this article because it's an 8-page article, and it has a lot of tables and stats in it. The first group in general was the 0 to 2 minutes for the access time to the form. The group 2, the second group, was in general was the access time, which is the time stamp that that OnPeak was using to aggregate, to put people in their list, was in general 1 to 6 minutes. So if you got in, you happened to luck in quick for the lottery, you were able to get your form in able to get access to your form within the first minute and a half. In general, you did get the hotel rooms that you were looking for. About 45% of the people who got, let's see, in group one, in general, about I'm looking here, in 90% of group one got a downtown hotel. So I mean, that's the takeaway, is that it's that early access time. 50% of group two got their downtown hotel, and that's what this data has proven, is that it does work. The system that CCI has implemented with OnPeak is succeeding, and we are getting better with regards to this. Let's see. Wanted to mention one other thing here. One other thing was that with the list of variations that we had, like closest to the convention center, with that list you were able to refine your selections a lot better. However, there were some little problems that happened because, for example, one hotel wasn't properly listed. I think it was listed as being 0.2 or 0.3 miles away, when in reality it was more like 0.8, and it was off of the shuttle route. So there were some minor refinements that needed to happen with the listing. We need to have a little bit, and the other thing that we didn't understand accurately was how the wait lists work. So if you got into the wait list, OnPeak needs to lay out how this process is going to affect people.
What else is new in
Right.
terms of communication from OnPeak? It's just, yeah.
But
this is not a new story.
But it is a lot better. You know, their communication was a lot better, and certainly I felt as though that the time stamp accuracy was a lot better reflected in the data this time than it has been in any time in the past, and I am really happy with that. So let's give them that at least, and for paying attention to, yes, I want the closest hotel, you know, but maybe they should say, I want the closest hotel, and if it's too far away, I want to be on the shuttle route. That would be nice too, because I don't want to walk 3/4 of a mile. So the flexibility was really nice, and you know, and it allowed people, you know, if they have to be on the shuttle route, maybe, you know, because they're not downtown, maybe they go for something that's you know, in Mission Valley.
Sure.
Let's see, and I had one other quick point. So access time and the greater accuracy of this. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to the article in on the Q&A for people, but you can also just find it on the FOCC blog on the front. It's the title of the article is Original SDCC 2017 Hotel Lottery Analysis and Reflection. Spend some time with it. You know, it's going to be one of those things that you really revisit next year before the thing, when I fully anticipate them requiring a member ID to fill out the form. Yeah, okay. That's, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb now.
Do you see it as inevitable? I mean, I kind of saw it as inevitable this year, and that's where I thought we were going to go, but okay. Right.
I mean, I see it as you know, that of course they're going to do that, because in reality, even vendors can create a member ID. It's not hard to create a member ID. So I think that's going to be a necessity. Again, let me put this link up there for you guys to take a look at, and please do, because it is worthwhile understanding what is happening in the back end of this. I mean, we need to understand how what we do affects the con. So
yeah.
Let me see if
okay.
this
Well, while you're doing that link, I'll do this final bit of news, which got announced, or certainly got seen up and running as of I believe it was on Thursday evening when we started seeing these. Obviously, we knew about the Conan wraps for the trolleys because that's where we got our first look at the pops. However, we also then had a number of wraps that had been seen around town. First, we had the Gifted. Which is going to be, I believe, on Fox, and they've got themselves a wrap with Sentinel services. It comes like this. It makes the train look like it's basically a holding cell for mutants.
I like that.
I think it looks rather cool. I mean, admittedly, it is going to look slightly weird when you then have the doors open and nerds pile out. It's basically making them look like they are being shipped off to some concentration camp. But there you go. That's the way the vibe of the whole thing. I mean, I certainly think they're aiming for the marketing of, say, the Man in the High Castle kind of sense with the old internment camps, which is a bold creative statement. So that's for the Gifted. And then you had the Orville, which is a show that we've talked about a lot on this show, on the Hangouts, because we are big fans of it. Seth MacFarlane's new show, if anything, because you've got Adrienne Padalecki in there, who I'm a fan of. And I have no problem with seeing a large picture of her wandering around San Diego at any given point. So that's the Orville coming to Fox. And then, last but not least, we had the banners started going up as well, which are Marvel. Again, this is something which a lot of people actually thought they were going to be Alex Ross banners, because Alex Ross, the Alex Ross art on Twitter, had been posting mock-ups of Alex Ross art being put up on the banners. That was very obviously photoshopped, and I think it was just wishful thinking. And it does kind of make me wonder about the Alex Ross Twitter account and how legit it actually is. But that's just me. So yeah, taken up by Marvel, which is a traditional thing, really. You've got two which are available, which is the Black Panther one, and you also had the Thor Ragnarok. Like I say, they are up and running, and you can certainly see them downtown at the moment with the Celebrating the Popular Arts. I think the exciting thing about this is it does give you a sense of what Marvel are thinking of pushing at their particular panels, which is Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther. We know they're coming. It's just now a case of what else is going to be on the docket. So there you go. That's the banners which you can see currently if you wander around San Diego at the moment. Is that everything?
Weekend television.
It's been a week, man.
Yes, I'm going to try and get through a week in television, because we've got a couple of really big things, shows coming back this week that people are really looking forward to. Preacher, yay, is returning. Really, really, really looking forward to that one. One of our writers, Melanie, has done a write-up of Tulip, and she does fabulous character studies on people. So I would definitely encourage you to take a look at what she's read. The other show that's coming back is David Tennant's Broadchurch. And so that's another one that's on its way back to entertain us for some crime drama. We're also getting Killjoys and Prime Suspect are returning this week too. Which I am looking forward to. Killjoys. Killjoys for me is one of those kind of little sleeper shows that I don't watch it when it airs, but then I binge it and going, why did I watch this when it aired? So that's one of those shows. We do see a wrap up of season finales for Doctor Who. So I think we say goodbye to David Moffat.
It's not David Moffat, but yeah, I know, we know what you mean.
Oh no. Well, we say goodbye to the lead character, but I thought David Moffat
Jim
was leading the show too.
Jim Capaldi is the guy who plays of course Doctor Who or the Doctor. No, actually, call him the Doctor. He calls him Doctor Who, which is just bloody weird. Then you've got Stephen Moffat. Yes, he's saying that he's going to be disappearing. Although that also leads into what we could see at Comic-Con, because him and Mark Gatiss are teaming up again to do something beyond Doctor Who, which is Dracula. I think they're just going to go through all the classic monsters. I mean, they've already done Jekyll and Hyde, which, by the way, if you've not seen Jekyll, you've got to see Jekyll, because that series just rocks. That was just brilliant. Yeah, that's their next project, which they're going to be doing. You never know, they may be coming over to do something about that for BBC America, who have got themselves a nice big stand again this year.
Cool. We wrap up with also Silicon Valley and iZombie are ending their runs this week too. They'll be back next year. You know, obviously. If you didn't catch The Mist last week on, I think it was on Spike, the Stephen King one, I'm not a big fan of like the jump out at you kind of horror stuff, but it was pretty good. So it was, it was classic Stephen King, and it's well done, and the characters are kind of interesting and well acted. So I would suggest trying to give that one a shot if you're looking for something. The other show that was getting a lot of buzz last week is something on Netflix called The Glow. And
it's Glow. It's just called Glow.
It's Glow.
It's just Glow. And it is the Glamorous Ladies of Wrestling, which actually had its. There was a series back in the 70s, early 80s, and this is kind of a new take on that story of that rise of female wrestling in the very glamorous 80s era, which Netflix seemed to have down with Stranger Things. What I personally think is that the guys behind Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, they lent the time machine, which they clearly built to make Stranger Things, because they filmed it in the 80s. Let's be honest about this. They basically gave it to someone else and said, go back and film about women in wrestling, because it looks incredible. It looks of the time. It's very cool. I've
seen the first episode and it was engaging. It made me cringe enough so that I was embarrassed and had to flip it off once or twice, just because it was, just that cringe kind of thing, which is a good thing. That means that it's actually doing what it should do. And a number of people whose opinions I respect really liked it. They've seen more of the show. So you might want to give that one a look-see on Netflix cool. over the course of the time. A couple of other shows. Clever Man, that Australian show is coming back this week, as is Zoo. So, and I will see you next week.
Excellent stuff. Yes, it's been a packed one, and we do apologize for taking up so much of your Sunday, but we had so much to talk about, especially when it came to Conan. I personally am really grateful to both Key and to Jason for coming on. For coming on, because I might just do it this year. I mean, last year, it was the first time I did Nerd HQ, and I had a great time. So I might just do Conan this year and just do a year of firsts. So there we go. Excellent stuff. So where can people find you online, Alyssa?
My Twitter handle is @FriendsOfCCI. You can always find me on the blog and the forum, and that's friendsofcc.com.
Excellent stuff. Cool.
And where can people support the Hangout?
Oh, well, certainly people can find me first to find out if I'm worth supporting by going to anenglishmaninsandiego.com. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and on various other social medias by searching for Englishman SDCC. You can certainly subscribe to my Twitter account if you just want to see me ranting about Comic-Con eBay posting. By all means, you can turn on notifications any day or night, where I'll just rant about eBay sales. So there you go. And of course, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. Every penny really does help us out. So please do help support the Hangout with that. Take care. Thank you very much indeed. Hopefully you'll join us next week for another show. We are going to be talking to Helen O'Hara from Empire Magazine, the world's biggest movie magazine. She's going to be talking to us about the films and what we could expect to see on stage, considering that, like I say, we're not going to be getting Joss Whedon, who will be coming out for the Warner Brothers panel on the Saturday. Who knows? So Helen's going to be joining us to talk that, and then a week after, it's schedules, kids. So get yourself all geared up for that little show. So that's going to be fun. Do take care. Enjoy yourself. Don't work too hard. And we'll see you in 7 days' time for another Talkin Comic-Con. See you soon, everyone.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye-bye.